Senator Hawley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Ritz, I'm quite confused about this ethics issue or issues. So maybe you can just help me sort it out. So I don't think I maybe understand the facts here. So you said that you've never been subject to an ethics complaint before. Is that right?
I said, to my knowledge, never been subject to an OPR complaint or any sort of formal complaint.
Okay.
All right, folks, this is probably one of the most cringe-worthy nominations to come out of the Biden administration yet. Senator Josh Hawley just absolutely dismantled this guy, Kevin Ritz, who was up for a federal judgeship. Ritz has a past full of shady dealings, and Hawley is not letting him off the hook. This one's a ride, so let's get into it.
I'm looking at a letter from May 16th, 2010, to the Office of Professional Responsibility that reads, "This letter is a formal request that your office investigate matters pertaining to the fair dealing and, more important, honesty of Assistant United States Attorney Kevin Ritz."
If that letter exists, Senator, I was unaware of it until just now.
But you're aware of the issues surrounding the Von Rico Weber case, which is the subject of this letter asking for a formal investigation into you. You're aware of that?
As I said, I do have some recollection of that matter.
Okay. So you were subject to a complaint. I have the letter right here. Let's just try to figure out what's going on in this case. I mean, this was a case involving a public defender who you got a plea agreement with, and then she asked to withdraw as counsel because she said you misrepresented the situation to her, and the court granted her motion to withdraw as counsel. That's pretty unusual, isn't it? I mean, what's happening here? She said...
Unusual? Hawley's being generous. This whole case stinks to high heaven. Imagine being a defense attorney thinking you've negotiated a solid deal for your client, only to find out the prosecution switched the playbook halfway through. That's not just unusual, that's a dirty pool. If Ritz's actions were above board, why are we even here? The fact that there's this kind of confusion at all tells you there's something rotten hidden.
That you told her that she relied on information about the nature of the crime, which was, she was told, was going to be a marijuana trafficking offense. And then when she got the PSR, it had a base offense level of 34 because the underlying offense was cocaine trafficking. So she had advised her client, based on your representations, here's what you're going to be likely subject to. They accepted the plea deal. She looks at the PSR, and it's something very different, she says, than what you told her. Now, this is a public defender now. And so on that basis, she had to withdraw as counsel, and the court granted her request. That's very unusual. I mean, what happened here?
Senator, first of all, I believe it was not a public defender. It was a defense attorney on the CJA panel in West Tennessee. There was a written plea agreement that was entered into. That written plea agreement, as with all of our plea agreements, includes a provision that says these are all of the promises made to this defendant by the government.
Yeah, but neither the indictment nor the change of plea transcript nor that agreement says anything about the underlying crime. It just says funds were the proceeds of distributing controlled substances without any specification of the alleged illegal narcotics. So what she says is you sandbagged her, basically.
Sandbagged, that's the perfect word for it. Ritz played this defense attorney like a fiddle, and when she called him out, he acted like it was all some big misunderstanding. But let's be real, this isn't a case of miscommunication, it's a calculated move. Ritz didn't just sandbag her, he buried her under a landslide of bad faith. And if he'll do that to a defense attorney, imagine what he'd do from a federal bench. This guy shouldn't be trusted with so much as a parking ticket dispute, let alone serious legal decisions.
And that's not true. I made no such promise along those lines.
But was there any indication before the PSR that you were going to hit this guy with the cocaine? I mean, this is unusual. It's unusual to be a Democrat administration nominate somebody who is accused of, who's hated by federal public defenders, and who's accused of sandbagging indigent defendants. So I'm baffled by this. I am totally baffled by this. So I'm trying to figure out what in the world happened. And then you got taken off this case, I think, right?
My recollection, Senator, is that the office had someone else handle it in case I needed to be a witness at a proceeding.
Well, here's what Vivian Donaldson, who is the counsel who ended up representing the United States, at Ms. Chastain's motion to withdraw as counsel, here's what she said. These allegations about you are serious.
Serious is putting it lightly. We're talking about allegations that a prosecutor lied, misrepresented evidence, and manipulated a plea deal. This isn't a clerical error, it's a systematic abuse of power. And yet, here we are watching this guy sit in a Senate hearing acting like he's done nothing wrong. Imagine having allegations like this on your record and still thinking you deserve a promotion. The audacity is unreal. It's like Ritz is playing Monopoly and just whipped out a get out of jail free card and expects this to be a game.
That's one of the reasons I am here, meaning in court, and Mr. Ritz will more than likely be taken off this case because of these particular allegations. So did that happen?
And I believe it was in case I needed to be a witness. But those
Well,
allegations.
this is what your supervisor said in open court. I'm not quoting you now a private letter. I'm quoting you something from open court. She says you were removed from the case because of the allegations, which she says were very serious. Now, you've represented this committee. You knew nothing about all of this. You answered a question in the committee questionnaire that you weren't aware of any complaint. You weren't aware of any disciplinary committee. You weren't aware of any inquiry ever. But yet, I'm reading you a transcript from open court in which your supervising attorney says the allegations against you are very serious and you're going to be removed. So I have to tell you, I don't think I'm trying to figure out what in the world is going on here, because it doesn't sound to me like you've been very forthcoming, certainly to this committee. So what happened? Were you removed because of the allegations of improper behavior?
The allegations were false, first of all.
I'm not asking you about your view. I'm asking you about what you told the court and about what your supervising attorney told the court.
And I don't recall exactly why there may have been a change in counsel.
Mr. Ritz, don't you think don't you think that's kind of important information?
These allegations were false, and there was never
You have
a
a
finding.
clear memory of that, but you don't have a clear memory of what happened in open court and you being potentially removed by your supervising attorney. This is very bizarre, I have to say. I've never seen it quite like this. This is very, very strange. And I just noticed that we have a sudden instance of amnesia anytime we're dealing with the actual ethical complaint, but you seem to remember the case exceptionally well. So this troubles me, and it's strange. It's very, very strange. Maybe my Democrat colleagues can clear this up. I'm sure they've vetted you. This is very, very odd. So your testimony is you weren't removed. All of this was false. You were never investigated, and this just all went away, or what happened?
There was certainly no court finding or any other finding by an investigative body of any unethical behavior.
I thought the court then allowed this defendant to change his guilty plea. He pled guilty, and then the court allowed him to withdraw it. That's also very unusual.
It does happen from time to time, Senator.
On the basis of your misrepresentations.
That was not the finding of the court.
Just to basically translate what he just said, they didn't officially catch me, so I must be innocent. Give me a break. Ritz's entire defense hinges on technicalities and half-truths. Just because no one slapped a formal ruling on you doesn't mean you're off the hook. It's like saying, sure, I crashed the car, but nobody wrote me a ticket, so I must be a good driver. The logic is laughable, and this guy's nomination is an insult to every honest judge and lawyer out there. Of course, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. Was Senator Josh Hawley right in absolutely dismantling this federal nominee, or did he take it too far? Let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments below. Be sure to give us a like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.